These are my 10 best investments that I have ever made in GTA Online, which have helped me save time and make me a lot of money. Starting with the agency, which is my personal favourite property in the game. Not only has this thing made me over $30 million, but it also has some of the best features out of any property that I own. The first one being the vehicle workshop, which is the only place where I can upgrade Armani Tech vehicles. In here, I can equip my vehicles with armor plating and Armani Tech upgrades, which include the missile lock-on jammer and even the remote control unit, which is a huge benefit to owning the agency, because the Armani Tech vehicles are some of the most armored in the game. Another thing I love about the agency is the fact that I can have my very own ammunition with the armory upgrade, because in here I can purchase all weapons and body armor at a discounted price, and even upgrade my Mark II weapons. But how did I make over $30 million from this property? Well, the main way I have generated this $20 million in earnings is through security contracts. You can start them from the computer in your agency, and there are 3 different levels to them, which pay between 30 to 70k per contract, depending on their difficulty. But they are essentially just jacked up VIP missions, and they only take me about 5 minutes to complete. And I've completed over 200 of these contracts, and they have earned me roughly $12 million from just contracts alone, but also through the passive income that they have generated me. Because for every 5 contracts that you complete, $500 will be added to your wall safe. And if you want the maximum daily income of $20,000, you'll need to complete 200 contracts, which is exactly what I did. This means I consistently earn $20,000 every hour permanently. I love the wall safe because not only did I earn millions completing the contracts themselves, but I now have a consistent flow of passive income every time I play the game. All I have to do is empty my wall safe every now and then when it is full. Now, the rest of my income was earned through the Dr. Dre contract. Although I rarely ever complete this, when I do, it is a great source of income. This is essentially a heist which can be started and set up through your agency. There are 3 main missions which all have preps and a finale, which leads to the 2 main heists. Altogether, this takes me roughly 1.5 hours to complete, and the best thing about it is that I can complete it all solo. And when I do, I earn $1 million. Although this isn't my main source of income, I still find it a great option to do every once in a while. The final way I make money with the agency is through the payphone hits. These are a lot of fun to do, and whenever they appear on my map, I always try to get them done, because they only take me around 5 minutes to do, and when I complete the assassination bonus, I will earn $85,000 every time, which is not bad at all for the effort that you put in. But that's enough of me glazing the agency. Let's now get into my next favourite property, which is the nightclub. This business is one of the easiest to run. It can generate you around $100,000 per hour completely passive, which is why I love this thing. Every time I'm playing the game, I'll have my nightclub generating me passive income in 2 different ways. The first is through the popularity. All I have to do is maintain my popularity bar every time I log in, which is so easy to do, and the reward that you get for doing it is totally worth it. I always enter my nightclub in passive mode whenever I visit. That way, the game will always spawn a troublemaker for me to kick out. And because I always maintain my popularity, this will instantly fill up my popularity bar, allowing me to consistently earn $50,000 per hour. The time that you actually put into the popularity bar is nothing compared to how much you make. For simply kicking out troublemakers every now and then, I have earned almost $10 million. If you are not maintaining your popularity, I highly recommend doing so for literally the easiest money that you will ever make. But what's even easier is the nightclub warehouse, which has generated me over $20 million. And all I have to do is complete a 10-minute sell mission whenever my warehouse gets full. The warehouse is again completely passive. All you have to do is assign all 5 of your technicians to obtain a certain type of good, and they will do the rest for you. That's literally how easy the nightclub is. As long as you own the businesses which are linked to the required goods, your technicians will obtain those goods for the warehouse, and you don't have to do anything else except sell it. The warehouse can earn you up to 50k per hour when you have all 5 technicians linked to the best products, which are cargo and shipments, sporting goods, South American imports, pharmaceutical research, and cash creation. And when it comes to actually selling it, you will always receive one vehicle. These missions usually take me around 10 minutes to complete, and when I do, I earn millions. To put it short, the Nightclub is an amazing business which has earned me some of the easiest money throughout the game. And speaking of, that brings me on to the next best investment, which is the Acid Lab. And this is another amazing business that I love running. One of the main reasons I love this business is because of how easy it was to set up. Because unlike the other businesses, you can't just straight up purchase it. Instead, you need to unlock it. And in order to do that, you have to complete the first dose missions, which allow you to unlock the Brickade 6x6, which is where the Acid Lab is stored. And another benefit of completing these missions is you earn up to $400,000 for first time bonuses. Whenever I log in, I always call up Mutt and buy supplies for my Acid Lab, which always costs me $60,000 for a full batch. And in the meantime, while I'm doing other things, my Acid Lab will produce stock for me, and I simply repeat this every time I play until it is full, which by the way only takes 4 hours, and that way all I have to do is sell my Acid Lab, which earns me $239,000 in profit. This is a great passive income business that all solo players should be running, because it literally takes no effort to do. All you gotta do is buy supplies and then sell it when it's ready. But it does get even better, because when selling, you only ever get one sell vehicle, which is the delivery bike. This makes the sell missions so easy to do, and it will only ever take me about 10 minutes. But other than the business itself, the Brickade 6x6 is also an amazing vehicle because it is extremely armored and powerful. Because when you upgrade it in the Freak Shop, you can add armor plating and ramp options, making it an armored beast. So not only is this an amazing investment for all players, but it's also a great vehicle to own. And do you know what else are great vehicles to own? Armored vehicles, which are some of the most important investments that every player should own. No matter what situation you are in, whether it's against NPCs or players, you are going to need an armored vehicle that can protect you. So I'll be recommending a few great armored vehicle options. The first of which is the armored Kuruma, which is still to this day an amazing option for all types of players, as this thing has great bullet resistance all around. But the only downside is it doesn't have any explosive resistance, and I've been using it a lot for almost every mission that I do. A great alternative to the armored Kuruma is the Duke of Death, because this thing is completely free for all players. So not much of an investment for such a great vehicle. Again, it has great bullet resistance, however this time it can tank explosives, taking up to 4 RPGs before being destroyed. And the cool thing about the Duke of Death is because it is a muscle car, it can also perform wheelies, which can help you get out of any type of situations. Another great armored vehicle option is the Night Shark, which is one of the best armored vehicles, as it takes up to 26 homing missiles to be destroyed. If you pair this beast with some sticky bombs, you can pretty much be unstoppable against any griefers. And finally, I highly recommend getting any Amani Tech vehicles, more specifically the Ocelot Virtue or the Omnis EGT. These are both electric vehicles, which gives them double the explosive resistance to normal gas vehicles, which allows you to take up to 11 homing missiles. And of course, you can equip it with Amani Tech. I love using my Omnis EGT. It keeps me very protected during public sessions. And another vehicle that keeps me protected is the Oppressor MK2, which is definitely the most controversial vehicle in the game. A lot of players hate it and a lot of players love it, but me personally, I am neither of them. I know the Oppressor MK2 has its flaws, especially when it's used in the wrong hands, but when you know how to properly use it, it's an amazing vehicle. I've been using the Oppressor MK2 for years now, and it has always helped me out. There's no other vehicle that is as fast, agile, and protective as the Oppressor MK2, which is why people don't like it. It's extremely overpowered, but for grinders, this is an amazing thing, as this vehicle allows you to travel across the map in such a short time. Again, I understand why people hate it, but if you are a grinder and you want to save a lot of time, the Oppressor MK2 is an amazing investment. It is a very powerful vehicle and can help out any player. And something else that helps out any player is the Kosatka Submarine, which is by far the best investment you can make, because the return on investment that I have gotten from this property or vehicle or whatever you want to call it is insane. I think it's safe to say that I've earned well over $100 million from the Kosatka, definitely more than that, I'm not too sure, but the amount that the Cayo Perico heist has earned me is insane, which if you didn't already know, the Kosatka allows you to start up the Cayo Perico heist, which is the best moneymaker in the game. No matter how many times Rockstar tries to nerf it, it will always be the best heist in the game for solo players. The setup missions are some of the easiest in the game to complete, and if you are using a fast vehicle like the Oppressor MK2, you can complete them in under 40 minutes. Easily. It is ridiculous how fast this heist can be completed. And the same thing can be said for the finale, as you can also complete that in less than 10 minutes. And depending on your main and secondary targets, you can walk away with around $1.1 to $1.5 million. And seeing as though it took less than 1 hour to complete, this is undoubtedly the best money per hour for any player. The only huge downside for this heist for solo players is the cooldown nerf, because you will have to wait 2.5 hours before starting your next heist. But even with this, it's still the king of money making, and I owe it a lot for making me so much money over the years. And while we're on the topic of the Kosatka, we might as well bring up the Sparrow, which is one of the fastest and most useful aircrafts in the game. You can purchase the Sparrow as an upgrade for the Kosatka, and this means you can store it inside of the Kosatka, which allows you to use it during the Cayo Perico setup missions, which makes them so much faster to complete. As for the helicopter itself, the Sparrow is overall my go-to for all situations, and is equal to the Oppressor MK2, if not better. The Sparrow does not count as a personal vehicle, which means you can request it through the services menu, which allows it to spawn anywhere in no time. But that's not all, because the Sparrow is just as fast as the Oppressor MK2, if not faster, which makes it a much cheaper and honestly better alternative for grinding, because it is also very versatile and can maneuver around pretty much anything. And pairing this with the lock-on missiles makes this an amazing aircraft to use. And another thing that you need to invest into is the Salvage Yard, which is a more recent business in the game, but it's still great. The main way to make money with the Salvage Yard is through the robberies. These are essentially small heists, as they do require you to complete 5 setup missions, including a finale where you need to steal a target vehicle to deliver back to the Salvage Yard. I've completed well over 50 of these robberies, and I will admit they are a lot of fun to do, and I've earned around $20 million completing them. But the only huge downside to these robberies is that you can only complete 3 of them once per week, because they reset with every weekly update, and honestly this is a massive pain in the arse. It takes me around 30 minutes to complete each robbery from start to finish, and depending on the target vehicle you get, you earn between $200,000 all the way up to $500,000. But having to wait every week to complete more robberies isn't fun at all, and definitely makes this business a lot less profitable than it could be. But the robberies aren't the only way that you can make money, because whenever you have the time, just hop into the tow truck inside your salvage yard, and then just collect a vehicle around the map, which can later be salvaged for parts. This is a nice little side task that I like to complete whenever I have some downtime, because I can earn around 30 to 40k per vehicle, which isn't too bad. But the only reason I complete the tow truck service is because of the passive income it gets me. Because for every vehicle that is salvaged, some passive income is added to the wall save, and you can earn a maximum of $24,000 per day. All I have to do is complete 1 tow truck mission per day, and it just totally depends on if I can be bothered for the extra income. But the salvage yard definitely has its flaws, but overall it's a great investment to make. Which brings me onto the Hangar, which is one of the best businesses in the game, and one that I've been using a lot more recently. The main complaint people have with the Hangar is that it requires a lot of effort to make money, and they aren't wrong, because unlike other businesses, you can't buy supplies. Instead, you always have to go out on source missions to source the cargo, which does mean full profits, but also much more time spent on the business. Now, if you want to make the most amount of money, then you only ever want to source these 3 types of cargo: medical, chemical, and narcotics. This way you always get the 35% bonus. So here's what I like to do. I always source 25 crates of chemical and then 25 crates of narcotics. The reason for this is because I will still receive the 35% bonus, only this time I don't have to wait between the cooldowns of sourcing the crates, because during the 4-minute cooldown for chemical, I can go and source narcotics. And this way, the cooldown will have finished, and I can continue to source crates until I have 25 of each. This usually takes me around 4 to 5 hours to complete, as I only ever use the land source missions. which are so much faster than the air missions. But when I'm using a fast vehicle such as the Oppressor MK2, I can get these done really quick. But when it comes to selling these 50 crates, I would earn over $2 million, which works out to around $500,000 per hour for me. The amazing thing about the hangar is while I am completing source missions for 4 hours, I always buy supplies for every business that I own. This way, all of my passive income businesses will be filling up while I am filling up my hangar. This is by far the easiest way to make millions, and I love doing it. And while on the topic of buying supplies for my businesses, one thing that has been a huge lifesaver for me is the Master Control Terminal. You can purchase one of these in your arcade, and this will be the best purchase that you make. The Master Control Terminal allows you to run all of your businesses from the comfort of the arcade. Here you can check the stock and supply levels of pretty much every business you own. This includes the nightclub, the bunker, all of the MC businesses, the hangar, and even the cargo warehouses. Now, because my hangar is close to my arcade, whenever I finish completing a few source missions, I head over to my arcade and jump straight onto the Master Control Terminal. This way I can purchase supplies for my bunker and several other businesses. This saves me so much time as I don't have to travel to each and every business just to buy the supplies. And if you are someone who also runs a lot of businesses like me, then you need to own this thing. It's one of the biggest time savers and it's an amazing investment. And something else which is an amazing investment is hitting that subscribe button down below, because in return you get amazing GTA content and learn how to play GTA Online a lot better. And while you're here, watch some more videos on screen now. And I'll see you all in the next one.